All right, so the big takeaway from Saturday's divisional round games was the Bills losing to the Broncos in overtime. And a lot of people are asking, is Josh Allen ever going to win a Super Bowl? Will the Bills ever win a Super Bowl? And I put that on my social media as a poll question. An overwhelming majority have said no. And look, I disagree. Here's what for the longest time I've always said, I think Josh Allen will win at least one Super Bowl. But is it becoming difficult to give him and the Bills the benefit of the doubt at this point? I mean, you're 0-4 against Patrick Mahomes, who is Allen's biggest kryptonite. And he wasn't even in the playoffs this year, and you still couldn't get to a Super Bowl or an AFC Championship game. Look, the NFL record for most head-to-head quarterback postseason matchups is Brady versus Manning with 5. Mahomes versus Allen is at 4. So at this rate, they're going to, at the very least, tie Brady versus Manning. I think they'll surpass it at some point. And if you're going to continue to meet so many times, Allen is bound to win at least one of those meetings. I mean, you've got to. You keep facing each other that many times in the playoffs, you've got to win at least one of those matchups. You have to. Now, like I said, it is hard to give Allen and the Bills the benefit of the doubt because you lost to Mahomes and the Chiefs 4 times, and they weren't in the playoffs this year. There was no Joe Burrow or the Bengals, who Allen has once lost to in the playoffs. There was no Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Now, Allen has never lost to Lamar in the playoffs. However, Lamar is a 2-time league MVP. So him also not being in your way, that could only help rather than hurt. And in a year that people are calling the most wide open postseason ever because the Chiefs, the Bengals, and the Ravens are not in it, the Bills were the most experienced postseason team coming into this postseason. And they still, not only could they not make it to a Super Bowl, they couldn't even reach the AFC Championship game. And I'm getting all of these comments from Bills fans because I'm a Chiefs fan. Oh, well, where was Patrick Mahomes this postseason? He's at home recovering with 3 Super Bowl rings on his hand. I mean, sure, this was a wide open year. Sucks the Chiefs missed it. But at least they've got some Super Bowl hardware, unlike the Bills. And even more so, that is all more the reason for the Bills to have won a Super Bowl this year. And that's not going to happen because they lost to Denver in overtime. Here's my thing. If you can't win the playoffs or win the Super Bowl in this playoff format where there was no Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar, when are you going to win one? And listen, there's nothing easy about going to and winning a Super Bowl. Nothing's easy about it, nor should it be. But this was Josh Allen's easiest path to a Super Bowl. No one can deny that. And you still could not make it to the AFC Championship game. And listen, for reference, look at Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, who's had he's a great quarterback. No question about it. But he's also had an injury-riddled career as well. To the point where he has missed 22 games in the span of 6 seasons, yet he still has 1 Super Bowl appearance. He went into Arrowhead and he beat Patrick Mahomes coming back from behind in the second half. Now, sure, the Bengals weren't able to pull it off against the Rams in Super Bowl 56, but at least he's been to a Super Bowl. That's more than what Allen could say right now. Look, I'm confident in saying that if Patrick Mahomes missed the playoffs for the next 10 years, he won't. But if he did, hypothetically speaking, I'm confident that Allen would not surpass Patrick Mahomes. So all of the Mahomes versus Allen comparisons, they need to go away. I mean, that has been buried at this point. When it comes to the divisional round, Mahomes is 7-0. Allen is 2-4. 2-4. I mean, like I said, if you couldn't pull it off this year, how do you expect anyone to give you the benefit of the doubt? And sure, fans in the media, they don't dictate how the postseason goes, but let's be honest, people care about what other people have to say. And the truth of the matter is, Allen and the Bills have failed several times. And there's always something at fault. Whether it's the refs or the Bills have failed Josh Allen. I'm seeing a lot of that. I see that every year when the Bills don't make it to a Super Bowl. The Bills franchise failed Josh Allen. That Sean McDermott's got to go. Look, let me just say this. You don't get to the playoffs so many times just because you have a great quarterback. You got to have a good supporting cast around you. And Allen's you don't get to a conference championship game like the Bills did last year just because of one quarterback. And Allen's great. Don't get me wrong. He's the reigning league MVP. But for whatever reason, when the Bills get to the big game, then all of a sudden, Bills fans come out of the woodwork and say that, oh, Josh Allen didn't have any help? I mean, that makes no sense. Because when you look at the last two playoff losses for Josh Allen, last year in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs and this weekend against the Broncos, Allen was unable to get past midfield with a chance to essentially possess the ball last for a full drive and had a big opportunity to win the game. Couldn't even pass midfield last year in the AFC Championship game on his final possession or in this weekend's game in overtime, when all you needed was a field goal in overtime. I mean, listen, they have changed overtime rules because of Josh Allen. They changed how you measure first downs when it's close to the first down marker because of Josh Allen. You can't blame this on the refs helping out Patrick Mahomes. I know that's the thing a lot of people love to bring up. Can't use that excuse this year. You can't blame no overtime rules because Allen did possess the ball in overtime against the Broncos. You can't blame bad coaching decisions. Listen, I think Sean McDermott should have been fired by now, but you can't, talk about how, there was a bad decision under 13 seconds, especially considering right before halftime, Allen had arguably one of the most careless fumbles I have ever seen by a quarterback in the playoffs, and that gifted the Broncos 3 points before halftime. He committed two fumbles in the span of 3 snaps at the right before the end of regulation. Right before the end of the first half and right at the beginning of the second half. Allen overthrew a wide open Dawson Knox with 10 seconds to go in regulation, and if he hits him in stride, they probably win that game and prevent overtime. You can't blame the refs on that one. And you can't blame the Buffalo Bills franchise for not giving Allen enough help because, number one, you had the league leader in rushing yards in James Cook. And not only that, yeah, sure, the Bills did allow 33 points, and as I already mentioned, not all of those are on the Bills' defense. Obviously, Allen gifted a couple of field goals to the Broncos, but the Bills' defense stood strong and forced 3 stops in the red zone. That is monumentally huge in the playoffs. Your defense can come up with 3 red zone stops. I mean, you have to capitalize. And Josh Allen didn't. Simple as that. You can't blame the kicker not coming through and failing to make a kick at the end of regulation because that didn't happen this time either. Unlike before. There's always been an excuse for Josh Allen and why he could never make it to a Super Bowl. It is the other 52 players' fault. It's the coach's fault. It's the ref's fault. It's everybody else's fault except for Josh Allen. That's what I always get from Bills fans. You can't do that this time. This one falls on Josh Allen. He committed 4 turnovers, 3 in regulation, 1 in overtime. And I know that's a controversial one, but whether you agree or disagree with that and want to call it controversial, fine, whatever. But we've seen controversial calls, missed calls, what have you, many times before, and we will see it many more times in the future. This is on Josh Allen. He committed 4 turnovers, 2 fumbles in the span of 3 snaps. And he committed one of the most careless fumbles I have ever seen a quarterback make in the playoffs. I mean, he just rolled the football backwards to put the Broncos in field goal position right before halftime. There was no reason to do that. Stop making excuses for him and stop blaming everybody else. It's time to finally look at what Allen has not been able to do. And he didn't come through and deliver in this one. This one is on Allen. I mean, listen, I mentioned they changed the overtime rules. They changed how close first downs are going to be measured. Like, what's the next rule that's going to change for Allen? I mean, is it going to be how a catch is determined in a close play against the defender? I mean, come on. Listen, Allen's a great QB. Anyone who watches football and has paid attention is not going to say otherwise. But he's not in the same tier. He's not in the same hemisphere. He's not even in the same galaxy as Patrick Mahomes. He's 2-4 in the divisional round, and Mahomes is 7-0 with 3 rings on his hand. And I'm seeing some people say that the window for Josh Allen and the Bills is shut. I don't agree that it's shut yet. But, oh boy, I'm just looking at the future of the AFC. It is about to become remarkably difficult to get to a Super Bowl if you're an AFC team. Because the Patriots, who were better than the Bills this year, they're not going away anytime soon. As long as they have Mike Vrabel, Drake May looks like he's going to be very good for a long time in the NFL. He might win the league MVP this year. If not, he's going to be pretty close to it. But the Patriots aren't going away anytime soon. The Broncos, they look like they're starting to move into the right direction. They made the playoffs last year, got blown out by the Bills. A year later, they win in overtime against the Bills. I know the Bills beat Jacksonville last week, but I do think the Jaguars are getting started under Liam Cohen. I think Trevor Lawrence, you're going to finally start seeing him play at a very high level. I think Liam Cohen is the coach that they've been waiting for a very long time. If CJ Stroud can progress and develop into the right direction, I think Houston could be a threat for years to come. The Chargers could also be a threat if they have a healthy offensive line. Meanwhile, I think it's logical to think that of the 3 big teams that missed the playoffs this year, the Chiefs, the Bengals, and the Ravens, at the very least, I think people would bet that 2 of those 3 can bounce back and make the playoffs next year. Now, I just listed, how many teams did I just list? The Patriots, the Broncos, the Jaguars, the Texans, the Chargers, and then the Chiefs, Bengals, and Ravens. That is 8 teams right there. And then throw in the Bills, that's 9. Obviously, 9 teams are not going to make the playoffs from the AFC bracket. They're just not. My point is, with these younger teams starting to rise up and the expectation that the Chiefs, Bengals, and or Ravens will rebound, man, playing football in the AFC is about to be difficult for the next 5 years. If you get the number 1 seed on the AFC side, man, you have earned it, especially nowadays when only the 1 seed gets a bye week, the number 2 seed no longer does. I mean, that just becomes even more valuable to whoever gets the number 1 seed on the AFC side of things. Not saying you're guaranteed a spot to the Super Bowl, but boy, that helps your case a lot to get there. It really does. I mean, listen, winning an AFC championship, it is about to become extremely difficult for the next several years. And look, not that it's ever easy to win an AFC championship game, to win a Super Bowl. But you could argue that it's about to become more difficult for the next 5 years than it was the last 5 years. And keep in mind, you know, Allen and Mahomes, they have faced each other so many times in the postseason. And those 2 quarterbacks alongside Burrow and Jackson have kind of been the top dogs in the AFC and in the NFL. But now, I mean, who is going to be the next AFC Championship. Not this year. I'm talking in the future, like next season. I don't know if you can really, with full confidence, tell me who you think is going to win the AFC Championship game next year. I mean, there are plenty of teams to choose from. It is going to be extremely difficult, and I truly do worry that the Buffalo Bills might not get that one singular Super Bowl win because they couldn't do it so far up to this point with Josh Allen. And there's a really good possibility that, I mean, listen, if you can get to a Super Bowl with Josh Allen within the next 5 years in what is a crowded AFC now, you earned it. But what are the odds of that happening? Especially if you haven't done it by now. And what a lot of people are saying, the most wide open year, and I truly believe this was the easiest path. Yes, even with needing to win 3 straight road games in the playoffs, which is not easy to do at all, I still think this was the easiest path for the Bills because there was no Mahomes, there was no Burrow, there was no Lamar. You are the most experienced playoff team out of all the 14 teams this postseason, and you couldn't get out of the divisional round. I truly wonder if they can ever win just one Super Bowl while they have Josh Allen. You couldn't do it this postseason, and the next few years, it is going to be extremely difficult to compete in the AFC.